Alex Steiner from Steiner Studios. My real job is as a real estate developer, and I'm here to introduce this project. We are trying to do something that is attractive and functional and contextually appropriate and practical to build. We've been working with the Datner firm for over 15 years with the studio project and with some other projects we've been doing. So we have a long history with them and with our landscape architect. And with that, I introduce Bill Stein and Nero from Datner.
Good morning, Commissioners. We're here to present the Sand Street parking garage at the Brooklyn Navy Yard. The project's located at the western end of the Navy Yard, near the corner of Navy Street and Flushing Avenue. It's part of a larger development of the Admiral's Row area, which has been previously presented to the Commission. In detail, there are several other buildings that are planned here, which the Commission has reviewed, including a new building that will contain a Wegmans supermarket and other existing and new buildings surrounding a central area. The garage and overbuild is subject to today's presentation, is located on the north side of this campus and really completes the campus. As you can see from this diagram, there is a, see if we can get this to work, a path for vehicles to enter the garage. The garage will house up to 480 cars, and there will be a 100,000 square foot overbuild of space to be leased by the Brooklyn Navy Yard above the garage. Tenants of the overbuilt space will enter at this end, and there's an existing security gate for the Navy Yard and Gate Street, which is essentially a continuation of Sand Street. These are some photographs of existing conditions. This is approaching the site from Navy Street, if one was walking, say, from the F train at York Street. At the entrance from Navy Street and Sand Street into the Navy Yard, the lovely gatehouses at the entrance to the Navy Yard. And then within the site, this is actually looking back to the west at the site. And then finally, two views looking more or less easterly at the site. This is Gate Street here, and this is a view of the site as it is today. The site's currently vacant. And this is an overview of the development. These buildings are the other portions of the Admiral's Row development, and the building in the background here at the north end is the garage and two-story overbuild. We'll talk a little about the green screen that fronts on to the central quadrangle, if you will, of the campus. The new Wegmans supermarket is located over here.
Good morning. So the ground floor of the building is the entrance and the first floor of the parking garage. As Bill mentioned, cars will enter off of Sand Street and into the garage. It is a precast structure with the ramps separate from the building that we'll see on some of the views behind it. On the ground floor, there is a small elevator lobby and entrance for the overbuild for the Brooklyn Navy Yard tenant spaces. The upper floors 2 through 4, are also parking up to a total of around 480 cars. The overbuild will have approximately 28 tenant spaces that are leasable for the Brooklyn Navy Yard, again, accessed from elevators at the far end of the building. And in section, the building is approximately 80 feet tall, with the 4 floors of parking and 2 stories of tenant spaces. One interesting fact, the tenant spaces actually cantilever over the garage at the south facade, which allows that landscape screen to drop down. This serves double duty. As you saw, the line of security for the Brooklyn Navy Yard is pretty much in the center of our building, so we need a way to get people using the garage back past that gate, and we were looking for a way to do this without introducing a separate security fence. So the overall design of the building started with the vocabulary and materials utilized in the rest of the Admiral's Row campus, so that it really is one comprehensive campus. circulation towers bookend either side, and the overbuild comes out over the garage. The precast garage is expressed for what it is. It's an industrial parking structure similar to many of the buildings in the Brooklyn Navy Yard. And that landscape screen wall drops down from that cantilevered portion down to the street. It's approximately 50 feet high and will be fully planted. It is set back over here so that that entrance into the garage is expressed so that when you approach the building, you see where you can enter. On the north facade, the ramps are expressed and the overbuild continues above. On the short ends of the building, we've used the same Corten steel panels that are used on the rest of the campus to really anchor the sides of the building and again, keep up that look. We looked at a few different examples of landscape screens utilized on parking structures throughout the country, throughout the city, and eventually settled on a stainless steel cable mesh system that's supported by cables. There were a few thoughts that went into this. We were looking for a system that would be light enough to suspend your cables without a heavy structure framing it and behind it. This system is able to span the full 50 feet. It's also open enough to allow the natural ventilation into the garage that's required for an open parking structure. And you can see where this becomes the walkway to get from the garage past the Brooklyn Navy Yard security gate. Our landscape architect, Future Green, who is doing the work for the rest of the Admirals Road campus, has been looking at some different species of vines that would grow on this wall and look good throughout the year. Looking at just some views showing how these materials all come together. Again, the landscape screen at the south, the Corten steel anchoring the sides of the building, the circulation towers bookending it, and the overbuild above. This is a view looking from, say, the parking lot for the rest of the Admirals Road campus. And then looking back the other direction. And of the short sides, you can see the ramps expressed on the back. And the side that faces the interior of the Brooklyn Navy Yard.
So this is really meant to be a contextual building, the context being the other Admirals Road buildings as well as the larger Navy Yard. This is a rendering of what the entrance at where Sand Street becomes Gate Street would look like once the building's built, with street trees, the green screen we talked about, and one of the entrances to the garage, and then the walkway behind the green screen. And then another view taken a little further back, seeing the building, again, more or less contextual in height with the surrounding buildings, and the garage structure, the overbuilt structure, the circulation tower, and the end, the Corten steel end of the building. And from a little further back on Navy Street, this is one of the photographs we showed you at the beginning of the presentation for the public approaching the Navy Yard from Navy Street, looking more or less southeast. And again, the overview of the proposed building fitting into the context of the Admirals Road development. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Before we get into specific questions, is there anyone here from the Navy Yard?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Can you just give us an update on your master plan?
Yes, so the master plan, which is being managed by Shane Leibowitz, the former police liaison, is going to be complete probably in July of this year. The master plan includes land use and zoning, development, site potential for other underutilized sites around the yard, resiliency, open space, landscaping, transportation, mainly pedestrian and bikes, wayfinding, and environmental graphics. So we're looking to have that done by midsummer.
Okay. So in the event that the master plan might make some specific recommendations that, I don't know what they might, how is this team being asked to incorporate or not any findings of the master plan?
Well, our master plan takes into account all of our plan developments, so this development is actually part of our master plan that WXY is looking at. I mean, if the, I can't really specifically answer that question without Shani here, but, what I can say is that this project is already being taken into account in our master plan. And so if anything comes out of it, as far as open space or landscaping, then we absolutely come back to the designer team.
Okay, that's all, thank you. Specific comments, questions?
Well, I think it's great that there's going to be a witness. It's terrific. You're bringing food to the Navy Yard. I'm sure it's going to be greatly appreciated, and more than food, but, I guess they need more office space, I don't know. But in terms of this Navy Street facade, I wanted to ask about that specifically. So just to address the building itself. Because you have housing across the street, right? And it seems that the facade is blank. So I'm not convinced about the argument that you have to pick from this kind of palette of, let's say, design choices that already exist in this quadrant, the blank facade of the 410, and that then would be applied somewhere in your building. Because it seems like there are some mitigating conditions at your location that could be addressed maybe in a more nuanced way, specifically the housing and the access from Sand Streets, which is a major bike pedestrian route and gateway. So it would be great to see, moving forward, maybe it could be a collage showing the gatehouses that are there, right, already, because they're very prominent, as you said. They're really key elements. They're beautiful elements, and we want to really highlight those. And so I'm not convinced about this large 410 wall that sits right behind it, and I'm wondering if other options might be to express more transparency there, or even your green screen. I don't know. And then I'm also interested in how, I understand you need parking, enclosed parking, I guess you do, I don't know. But the possible adaptive reuse of this building into something else, and I know this seems odd, but we're moving into a world that people may not thrive. And as you do the master plan, and this is all the kind of big maybes, but maybe that gate softens, and I know that the Navy Yard's interested in softening the wall, and this is an experiment in softening the wall, kind of making it more permeable by pushing it back. So I'm wondering, and I thought, well, I guess they could tear down the ramp, and maybe this building, although you've got the ceiling, have a parking garage in there. So I know this is more than your charge at the moment, because you did parking and then build over, but it would be great if the building thought to the future beyond just buildings for cars. And then one other point has to do with the green screen. I wanted to ask you about that. The green screen on the parking lot, which it's on the east side there, and so you said when you're exposing it here, like, can you tell me about that again? Like, what that?
Well, first of all, thank you for your comments. Your comments about the west facade facing Navy Street are well taken, and we'll certainly take those into account. I will comment that there are some functional issues within the planning of the garage that put a lot of service spaces at that end of the garage, which made that facade to be opaque rather than open and transparent. But nonetheless, your comments are well taken. So regarding the south facade, which is where we have the green screen, the idea here was to do a little bit of playing with the planes. As Gia commented, the overbuild extends 12 feet beyond the face of the garage, which is set back here, and there's a stair tower serving the garage here. And this started really as it's kind of a small functional issue that we were trying to solve and developed into this green screen. The Navy Yard security point is more or less here, and there's gates there and the security station. Yet public users of the garage are shopping at Wegmans, which is one of the main drivers of this garage, as well as other public members who are using the parking facility, can't exit directly from this stair tower because they would be within the Navy Yard secure area, so they have to get back here.
Right.
So first we looked at fences, railings, walls, and the idea of doing this out of greenery, something that's translucent, living, that would benefit from the southern exposure that this facade has, seemed like a good approach, and it was really just to emphasize the change in planes that we decided to end it at the security point and then leave this portion open so that people would see, yes, there is a garage there, and we're not just trying to cover a garage, but kind of playing a little bit of a visual game to emphasize the change in planes of the different parts of the building.
But so can we even look at the plan in terms of your argument about that corner that faces Sand Street facade?
Yeah. Well, this is the plan.
Right.
And the ground floor again, this is the entrance to the garage for
Right.
vehicles, and what's called Gate Street, the extension of Sand Street is here. The security gates are where this red dashed line is, and this is where the green screen picks
So
up.
we're talking about this facade, right? Yeah.
Well,
The cortex that goes up, is it?
yeah,
is that facade, right?
this is the Core 10 facade.
Right.
And that you commented on earlier, and that's the west facade of the building facing Navy Street, correct?
So what are the functional
Okay,
issues as
so
going up in the building?
at least on the lower level, there are mechanical rooms and bicycle parking, which could be looked at potentially. On the upper level, there is more opportunity for opening up that facade.
So an upper level would be below that.
Yeah,
Right.
would be,
And that would
this
be
is the
here.
typical floor plan.
This
right
would be that facade you're talking
here.
about.
No, the facade is,
This
hang on.
is the Sand Street facade,
Exactly.
am I
No.
correct?
no, this is the Navy.
That's the Navy.
Excuse
That's where
me,
the
that's what I
corset
meant, yes, Sand Street,
Right.
this is Navy, I'm sorry, I meant Navy.
Sand Street or Gate
So
Street.
this,
is
so it's, yeah,
Yeah.
so this is that whole Corten thing going on.
Right, correct. So, yeah,
Nothing's there,
Yeah.
yeah, same, right?
so the opportunity exists above the ground floor to
Yeah.
open it up.
I mean, I think it's great to look at bikes, that's all. But,
To know where, see where
But
the
that's a
bikes are.
mechanical space, you're gonna have to harden it, right, because you're in the flood zone.
Correct.
Yes.
I think one of the precedent images for the vine is the one we did at the Staten Island Courthouse. So I have every confidence that this will work, but I have no confidence that it'll work coming out of a planter. They need to put those vines coming out of the ground.
Could you tell us a little bit about the parking plan, because it informs, the program for the building, and just taking into consideration the fact that it's a parking structure next to surface parking, and I know this master plan is coming, I'm sure they're looking into that as well. I just wanted to hear a little bit about the thinking going into planning for 400 of these spaces.
Sure. Part of why we were selected in the RFP process is because Wegmans checks all the boxes. It's a long answer, but I'm getting to what you're asking. Number one, quality of product and produce is great. This is a food desert. Number two, pricing on the products are 10 to 50% less than ShopRite from a third-party reliable survey regular basis. Great service, and in terms of employees, Wegmans is considered one of the great employers of America year in, year out. Wegmans employs twice as many people as a typical supermarket of this size. The parking structure will do double duty. During the day, the Navy Yard is desperately underparked, notwithstanding that cars are, fading in their urban environment. The Navy Yard is very underparked and is only having a greater problem over time with parking. So during the day, the idea is that Navy Yard industrial tenants will use that parking structure, both for the overbuild area and for this overbuild area above Wegmans and other parts of the yard. And at nights and weekends, which is really when the supermarket starts to cook, that will be used by customers as well as employees of Wegmans. So in the scheme of overall square footage, it's not really serving just this development, which needs a lot, but also the real area.
tenants will you have there?
So
Because it would seem to me that, drive to work, pull it.
the idea is we will build hopefully better, faster than the ADR can do themselves. And they will master lease it and fulfill their mission for the space that we lease today. And the simpler it is for them to have clients served better.
Excuse me, is there any way to make the surface parking lot potentially have some flexible uses? That is, whether it's, I see there are periodically trees there, but anything that could be within the park. It's a rather large area, whether it's seating, a plaza, another kind of activity for people other than completely the surface parking.
This was Euler by the Navy-Yard before
Right,
the
yeah.
mall.
It's not under this,
It's
it's
not
not
there.
under this project.
Okay.
But I will tell you, we are doing a bunch of, this is a historical structure that will be reconstructed. This will be rebuilt, also historical, and we're, besides bike racks and seating in that general area, we're doing a historic, photographs and words with those photographs and talk to the history of the agricultural site.
So, Bill, I know that oftentimes a number of DATNR projects include green roofs. Of the many things I see that you have carried forward in your building, you haven't carried that forward. Is there a reason?
Yeah, the main reason is not really shown in these renderings is that there'll be a significant amount of mechanical equipment to serve the overbuild. We're not exactly sure what the extent will be, but we thought that, given the fact that a significant portion of the roof will be allocated to mechanical equipment, that a green roof was maybe less appropriate here than on other projects.
But you'll do a blue roof.
Yes.
You'll do something.
Well, it'd be great to see those bulkheads going forward and the scale of them. Right.
Any other?
Yeah, I think one more comment was sort of mentioned at the very beginning, and it was raised earlier, the Coritan, the cow wall, the overall treatment being that it's kind of one campus, and I think there was an interest in discussion that the building could also be its own, so, a cousin, not a sibling.
Well, I
kind of a thing.
mean, granted, and I'm very, sympathetic to the comments made about the Navy Street facade. And we'll certainly look at that. And also, we have looked at a variety of materials. And I think this building does, if I may say, is a cousin in that the proportion, it's a grid. The facade is a grid, but it's a different format grid, different proportions than the other buildings. So it's both similar but a little bit different. But that said, certainly we appreciate the comment.
I mean, there are, of course, ways to make garages so they don't have to look like the least expensive garage in the world. So you could bring that concrete down and have some kind of wire mesh or something, obviously, to make it more permeable. And it still would shield the cars, I would think, depending on the dimension of the mesh or something, for instance, yes.
Yeah, with the, on these facades, is that part of the environmental graphic overall system for the APR? Is there some signage like the graphics on the other buildings in this overall complex?
I think that's also subject to a master plan, is it not? The graphics?
Well, so I think that the Admiral's Row development will have a separate signage identity than the rest of the yard. At this point, we haven't, we're not at a point of environmental graphics planning yet, but I think what we thought so far is that this would be a separate development, would be since it's a public place versus this part of the secure park.
Because I also just have a concern too about, the blankness of this wall. And I don't know if there's something not opened up or environmental graphics or something. Well, these are not mandates, just like thoughts. Something to go here. I feel like this is really visible from this line of Sand Street into Surfside Housing, goes to the Manhattan Bridge, onto Dumbo, and off the bridge. I've liked this a lot of times. And I feel like it may not, be apparent now, but I think it's a major, for I feel like there's something, if we're talking about like making the site a little more permeable, I think there could be some treatment here. It doesn't have to be fully transparent, but some kind of treatment here that sort of speaks to this kind of like line that exists here.
I think part of our thinking was it would frame the entrance and be a uniform backdrop to the castle entrance and not compete with it. So it gives that backdrop effect to it while also coordinating the left side of Sands with the right side of Sands and a backdrop for the signage. So that was part of our thinking. Core 10 we like a lot because of the rawness and industrial nature of it, keeping the rest of the Navy Yard and the Admiral's Row project, everything very exposed.
And I would also comment that, as you can see from this rendering, again, granting your comments, that a significant portion of the facade is open and transparent.
I mean, it just would be great to see a rendering, if you're going to do the rendering of the collage with the gatehouses. I love Core 10 too. I just think it's a little harsh for the community, and I've walked that thing a lot, trying to get to number 7. It's harsh, and it's great that you're doing this, and it's going to be great to see that walkway in with the green screen. But I think it could be studied.
We'll look at some other things.
Yeah.
We were looking at this, really like a U over the garage, and what I'm hearing is, let's disassociate that facade from the rest. It's not really seen at the same time, and what would look best
That's
for
how
that
people will
pedestrian.
see it. Yeah, they're not going to know about the rest, right?
Okay.
Great.
Thank you, Mr. Steiner, over the years of your commitment to the
Oh,
ADR.
Yes.
Thank you for your public service.
I'm Baca. I'm our Deputy Director of the Art Program from the Cultural Program. We're here today, this is artist Saul Becker. He's presenting this project for the Sag Harbor Music Hall.
Hi, thank you very much. It's starting to fade out. I came in on a 6 a.m. flight this morning, so I'm a little groggy, but I'm really excited to be here and have this opportunity to share this project with you. And thank you so much. Like Brayden said, my name is Saul Becker. I'm a landscape artist. I'm a painter, sculptor, and my work for the last 15 years or so have been keenly and specifically focused on landscape. And my process has been not so much to document places, but to create places. And what I do is I often take expeditions like to the Arctic or to Newfoundland, or sometimes just in metropolitan environments. And I take multiple photos of sites, sometimes natural sites, sometimes manipulated sites, where I'll take an image and I'll mirror or alter images in the computer. But then I take these composite images of multiple places and stitch them together to make new places. And this has been my passion for a long time. And like this painting is from a trip I took, an expedition I took into the Arctic on a sailboat a couple of years ago, where I was between Greenland and Siberia for 3 weeks. And I took multiple places and compiled them to make these places that didn't actually exist. This was one of my exhibitions in Chelsea last year. And I was really excited when the Center for Art program first contacted me about this project, and I immediately came out to the site to Snug Harbor to see the big complex there, and was really excited when I found that it was a former retirement home for worn out and used up old sailors. Because when I was very young and fresh graduate from high school, I left my hometown of Tacoma, Washington, and became a sailor on a tall ship. And I spent a summer sailing a 3-masted pirate ship, basically, in between Virginia and Nova Scotia. And so here we have a diagram of the proposed site, the addition. I'm not going to be speaking a lot about the architecture because you're all familiar with this project. You can see here, the red circle is where the site for the artwork is going to be, the interior stairwell of this addition to the music hall. And so this is me on the tall ship when I was 18 years old, hanging out there painting part of the bow Yard for 5 years and was constantly making expeditions out to the sort of forgotten pockets of the city, the marooned submarine at Coney Island, and the ship graveyard in Staten Island, and Shooter's Island. And when I visited Snug Harbor for the first time, the image that was stuck in my mind was one of this rich maritime history and one of constant and ever-present change. And the image that came to my mind was something that I had encountered on the coast of Washington State, where I encountered this 300-foot tall ship that had been scuttled and filled with soil. And it had been there long enough that there were mature trees growing out of it. And this image for me was really powerful, and immediately it came to mind when thinking about a project for Snug Harbor, in that there's that strong maritime history, but also this change, this growth. And the ship being a ship made of wood is also supporting this new crop of wood growing within it. And so I created some watercolor studies, and it brings us to a proposal, which is this 2-story painting in this stairwell site, which can be seen inside the building through the stairwell or outside. And one of the aspects of the architecture that I was really excited to see and to interact with this project was the effect of the Frick glass, and how from the outside that Frick creates sort of a fog from the ground and from the sky, and sort of changes the viewing of the image. And from the outside you see the ship, and when you're on the inside, then you see that it's aground, it's on the beach, and it has a different reading. And I liked that the artwork could interact with, the viewing from the outside and the viewing from the inside, and that as one descended the stairs, they could travel through the work. And exciting for me to engage with work of that scale, that you can actually sort of move through. So here's some different views of that artwork and stuff. And the glass. And I think that Frick is just really an exciting element, and sort of adds to that ghostly veil of history, when dealing with a historical site, that maritime history. And at night, it sort of has this nice light box. And here's some technical drawings of some light. I'm afraid I don't have a whole lot to offer with a lot of the technical architecture drawings, but what we're proposing is that the painting will be made of 8 panels, 8 aluminum panels, that will be hung to tile and hang this mosaic. And it'll be aluminum, so it's non-combustible to conform with building code. And it's going to be very durable, easy to maintain work. We're looking at a technology for printing it that's an enamel-based fired printing technology, so the surface will be really resilient and easy to maintain since it's in a stairwell. And at this point, I guess I'll turn it over to questions.
Thank you very much.
I have a question. Is it a print of the painting that is embedded in the aluminum, or are you in the studio painting on the aluminum directly?
So I'll be creating an original that will then print with this aluminum and with this ceramic process. So it will be mechanically produced from an original. But in my work, I like to blur the lines between photography and painting and work back and forth, because I think those ideas are conflated in the way that we deal with images. And we all walk around with cameras in our pocket, and this is the way we process and digest visual information.
So your painting will be the same scale as the scale, or will it be scaled up?
It will be scaled up.
Oh, it's scaled up.
I have a question in terms of cropping of the image. Are you comfortable with having the bottom right corner sort of edited out
works, but I think I'm not sure how anyone else feels about it. I'm not sure if it's necessary to have a dog park or what.
I had the same question.
I don't know if you need it, per se. I think that it doesn't help it.
Yeah, it was a balancing act between sort of getting the scale that I wanted and getting sort of the movement through the piece. I like the relief of that open ground element where the image is so dense that there's this bit of relief as you move through it, and it also becomes very abstract at that point. But it was a balancing act. I wanted to maximize the whole wall, but then it got into all these weird angles and creating parts that were fitting under the stairs. And the more normal I tried to make it, the weirder it got. And so it became simple to make this cropping move.
Does the stair touch the wall on the painting side, or is it pulled away?
It's pulled away a little bit.
So you could, would you take it all the way down, or you like this? I mean, you wouldn't take it to the ground and then have this frame over the white.
Yeah,
You like it like this?
I think it makes sense this way to sort of minimize, damage being right at the foot mark and that close.
I think, I'll just say that I think that your choice of image and how you explain it is extremely evocative and very appropriate for Snug Harbor, and interesting that you're turning a lemon into lemonade by discussing the Fripp, which, but the way you described it and the way it will interact with the piece, I think is very interesting. And I don't know whether that issue informs the sort of termination mark. Maybe you could go back to the looking at it from the outside. So there, you really don't, you don't see the stair. So that stair is below, that's one flight below essentially, right? Your basement level? That's where the green room is, I think, right?
Yes, the room's on the lower level.
Right.
You see the beginning of the stair going down, you see the guardrail.
Right.
But you don't see any stairs.
Right.
So that view that we just saw was the view below,
When you're going down the stair from inside.
inside.
Idea is from inside you see more than you do kind of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the top crop of it.
So if you were to crop it, then it would be too similar what you're seeing inside and outside.
Yeah, and that's the part that I enjoyed was that, from the outside you could, on a passing glance, almost believe that it's a ship in the waves of the ocean. And then when you arrive inside, it's a different relationship.
Got it. Yeah, nice.
Great. Any other comments? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Good work. The public meeting is now commencing with the consent agenda. Items number 26062 to 26092. Please note the conditions of approval as recommended by the various committees and their recusals. Staff has noted Commissioner Morgenthal's recusal from item 26066, Commissioner Shepherd's recusal from 26078, and my recusal from 26072. Any other recusals not noted? No, let the record show there are no other recusals. And for the record, there do not seem to be any members of the public here to testify on any of the consent items. Anyone here at the table would like to speak? No, let the record show no one wishes to testify. Someone make a motion to approve the consent agenda? Second?
Second.
All in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay, we have a unanimous approval. I just want to note that item 26093 that was calendared for a public hearing has been withdrawn. Therefore, we are adjourned. Thank you.